This was the most horrifying day of our lives. It was a combination of hatred and evil acts. The entire day we spent in a safe room, knowing that this could be the last day of us together.
There were hundreds of terrorist attackers, of civilians of Gaza Strip, walking into the kibbutz, into Kibbuz Nahal Oz, getting in houses, in private houses of Kibbuz Nahal Oz, demolishing and destroying everything they saw, murdering people in their own home, in their own bed, and just putting horror and evil everywhere they could.
As time goes by, we realize they're kidnapping, they're murdering. We see puddles of blood. We realize they're actually murdering young people, old people. They don't even care.
There were times in the shelter room, so many hours, when you sit next to each other and you look at each other's eyes and you realize you maybe won't make it. So you say goodbyes.
I ask myself, what did I do? What can I do different to be better in this world? But then I realize I cannot change my religion, who I was born to be, my Jewishness, and I will not be apologetic about it. I will not deny it because other people hate that part of me. There's nothing I can do to change it. And it's something that struck me so hard, how much people hate me for who I am, a part I never chose. As for right now, I'm proud of that part more than ever.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you for being here with us in Düsseldorf. Your presence provides a priceless opportunity for us to shed light on the events of October 7th. Throughout your time here, you've shared your story with many people and different groups. Can you tell us the type of responses you've received so far before going deeper into detail?
Any? So, thank you for hosting us here in Düsseldorf. It's a privilege to be here, and it's a big honor to be here. I think most of all, the responses here are very warming, and we got a big hug from the first time we arrived on Düsseldorf until this day. The people here support, love, and hug us really gratefully and amazingly. We feel as if we met our other side of the family.
I think we received a lot of empathy, first of all. You know, going through something so horrible, and then getting all the love and empathy and support means the world. But even more than that, we know that all this love we're gonna, transfer to the community back in Israel, which means the world to us. And we see how much people can relate to that pain and that experience these days of just being yourself as Jewish.
I will add something that after so many hours of being alone and left alone and felt alone, only two of us and only our community, now it's powerful that we are feeling a lot of people together with us and we're not feeling alone anymore.
So many people experienced terrible things on October 7th. You are from Kibbuz Nahal Oz. How did you experience this day?
Let's just start by saying this was the most horrifying day of our lives. We've never imagined we would feel the things we felt that day. We experienced something that was way beyond our worst nightmares. We never prepared for something like this. It was a combination of hatred and evil acts in the form of rocket launching, like in hundreds, infiltrating our most sacred and safest place on earth, our homes, our bedrooms, our community, our kibbutz, with hundreds of really evil terrorists who came to slaughter us, to burn our homes, to crush everything, and to destroy our lives. And it only started on October 7th. The entire day we spent in a safe room, knowing that this could be the last day of us together. And I said it was only the start, because it only started there, and it followed by the weeks after that we realized how many friends and family members we lost that day.
The barbaric attack of Hamas on the 7th of October was a life-changing event, not only for us, but also for the whole community and for the whole world, because it is really unacceptable to hear and see in your own eyes that terrorist attackers are getting in your home, in your house, in your community, in your country, and destroying, demolishing, murdering, and raping all around. So to sit 20 and more than 20 hours in the shelter room, hear the horror all around, and try to be safe, try to sit there and believe that you can get out of it, is a very hard task. There were many times in the October 7th and afterwards, after the October 7th, in the 2 weeks or 3 weeks afterwards, where we sat and looked at each other and realized that we are not sure we're going to make it. So for us, it was devastating. 6:30 in the morning, we're getting up after a regular Friday to a massive scale we didn't know before of bombing and missiles all around. At first, we figured it's something we're used to, unfortunately. We know these sounds, we know this situation. We looked at each other and we started to realize this is not a regular thing. This is something unusual is happening. From this moment on, from around 7 a.m. until 1:30 p.m., there were hundreds of terrorist attackers, of civilians of Gaza Strip, walking into the kibbutz, into Kibbuz Nahal Oz, getting in houses, in private houses of Kibbuz Nahal Oz, demolishing and destroying everything they saw, murdering people in their own home, in their own bed, and just putting horror and evil everywhere they could. Children, teenagers, young adults, seniors, everyone they saw, everyone they could get out of the shelter, they could take out of the shelter, they harmed, they abused. The phone calls I got as the head of the emergency local team of Nahal Oz were horrifying. People called me to say they're being kidnapped, they're being abducted, they're taken to Gaza Strip. This is something we couldn't handle. This is something we didn't know what to do with. This is something our hands were too short to help. We sat together in the safe room and we tried to understand what are the possibilities we have. What is the best thing to do? What are the best messages to send to the public so that they will know they have to stay. They have to stay in the shelter rooms and never get out. The kibbutz was full of them. They burned everything they saw, and we had nothing to do but to wait to our own death. The fact that we sit here now is unbelievable. There were times where when we sat next to each other and we realized we weren't going to make it. And the fact that we are sitting here now and speaking about what happened at the 7th of October, about the fact that we survived this massacre that happened and took place in Nahal Oz, and not only in Nahal Oz, but also in another kibbutzim in Israel. This is unbelievable, and we need to acknowledge the fact that we're here and we can tell the story of what really happened at the 7th of October, of the horror that we've been through.
During that morning, we realized really fast that they wasted no time, and our senior neighbor, she's already murdered. They went into the house and they shut the door of the safe room. She was killed on the spot. Then they opened the door and they shot her husband and left the house. They live only few houses from us. So we realized really fast they're here, they're coming for us, they're going to houses, they murder. We could be next. So I think at some point I decided that I told Rotem, I would not be burned alive in my own house. We will not be kidnapped. We will not be raped. We will not be shot to death. We will fight or run away. We need to have a plan. So I decided to make an ambush inside the house and wait for them with a knife. And if I see them before they see me, we can run and escape. After a short time, I decided that it's better that we lock ourselves in the safe room. And in order to do that, I need to take apart the handles of the door of the safe room. So I told Rotem that I need to run outside. So I sneaked out, and as I was on my way to the shed in the garden to get the tools, the sound was unbelievable. The explosions of the grenades and RPGs and the war cries and the gunfires, it was just, and all along the alarms and the rockets exploding over our heads. Something like from a scene from a movie. Unfortunately, I took the wrong tools when I was back home, so I told Rotem that I'm going to run out again. And this time, I got the right tools. I took apart the handles of the door of the safe room, and then we entered the safe room and we stayed there. During that time, I realized that my entire family who lives in the area, they are all under attack. Some of the family in Sderot, some of the family in kibbutz nearby, Saad, and another sister in kibbutz Nirim. I was in touch with my family. They all said they're safe. But I couldn't reach my sister. And my sister decided to spend the holiday, October 7th, in Ofakim with her husband's family. Around 2 p.m., she messaged me that it's unbelievable what happened to them. Ariel, her brother-in-law, was murdered in the house after terrorists went into the house. The entire family ran outside from the second floor window, and Ariel was the last one to go outside of the window after my sister, his mother, my nephews, my niece, who was 1 month old that day, and he was the last one to exit the window but the terrorists got him, shot him, and he was murdered on the spot. And then I realized we start losing lives in the community, in the kibbutz. During that time, we log into Facebook just to see what's going on, and then we see there's Facebook lives of families, our friends, who are neighbors, who are terrorists took their phones, log into their Facebook accounts, and start Facebook Live, filming the family and telling them to speak to the people that they're being abducted by Hamas. And then they took the young boy of the family and aimed guns at him and told him to go from house to house and get his neighbors out. As time goes by, we realize they're kidnapping, they're murdering. We see puddles of blood. We realize they're actually murdering young people, old people. They don't even care who's on their way. So when people talk about the atrocities Hamas made, it's not just about another video or photo. This is actually the members of your community, our own personal families, the people we cherish the most. So to witness this evil acts is just something that it's gonna take time to heal from that, but we need to speak the truth and tell everyone. It's not something that you heard that happened in somewhere far away. It happened to us, happened to our own family, to our siblings, friends, the people we hold dear the most.
As the moment as Nadav took the handles out and locked us in, we felt safe, but it was a misconception because the terrorist attackers shot through the doors. They killed this way also Shoshi, our beloved Shoshi, and our beloved Mayan, Tzachi's daughter. And we felt safe, but it was misconception. It wasn't right. The terrorist attackers did everything they can to hurt the people who were still in the shelter.
When we say that in October 7th, everything started, it means that the news about the people we lost only started on October 7th. It took days and weeks to identify the people that we know so well. In the beginning, we realized, why is it taking time? It's because of the amount of the bodies. But then we understood that it's not the amount of the bodies, it's the shape of the bodies and how they were found. Then we realized the beautiful faces of our friends cannot be recognized because of the atrocities of what happened to them, of what Hamas did to them, how they corrupted their bodies, they burned their bodies, and realizing that entire families was wiped out, like without even hesitating, is just devastating, and everyone should know about it.
Would you like to go back to Kibbuz Nahal Oz one day, and what needs to happen for that?
I think that's one of the biggest questions right now that we ask ourselves. I think we are an example of family that the members of the family think different about this. I would say for myself that I see myself going back to Nahal Oz, but I need some things to change, to be different. I don't know what it is that I need to be different. But I do know that I cannot back to the same reality, because it only means that it's a matter of time until the next attack will happen. I do want to go back home. It's my home. I don't have another home. This is my home. We worked so hard to make it home. with the community and actually building the home there, building the house. So I think as part of my fighting in this war, not as a soldier, but as a member of the community of Nahal Oz, it's fighting my way back home so I will not feel that someone threatened me and it actually succeeded and I will not be back home. I feel like this is my mission. I'm going back home. As simple as that. I don't know how, I don't know when, but it's something that I'm 100% sure that I want to do.
As for right now, I don't see myself going back to Nahal Oz. The horror we've been through, the friends we lost, the friends that are still there in Gaza Strip, I cannot see myself going back to Nahal Oz unless I'll have answers. How did it happen that 3,000 terror attackers and thousands more of Gaza civilians came into Israel borders and stole and demolished and destroyed and raped and burned. I don't think I can go back to Nahal Oz until I'll have answers, until the hostages will come back. I cannot see myself dealing with the fact that I sit in my own house in Nahal Oz and that there are still friends of mine who are near the fence and Gaza Strip. Besides the horrible amount of trauma we had and we're having right now, the amount of trauma the community has, the amount of struggle that we're experiencing, trying to understand why it happened, how are we coping with this enormous horror and death that we met on the 7th of October and 3 weeks after. These are questions that should be asked, and these are questions that we are dealing with as a couple and as the community. And to be honest, I don't know what are the conditions for us to go back to Nahal Oz. I don't know if there needs to be some restrictions in Gaza Strip so I could go back. I don't know. I don't know how Gaza Strip would need to look like before I will come back. But as it's for now, until the hostages, until Omri and Tzachi, ours, Omri and Tzachi, won't come back to their families, I cannot see myself coming back to Nahal Oz.
What changed for you after that day?
אולי אני אתחיל?
Everything changed. Really. Like, let's start from the feeling of safety that our home provided us, that it's no longer there.
Our roots were torn.
We had great jobs. We had a great community life. And I think we have this hard times with relationship with our country. It's trust issues that we are having right now. As a matter of fact, I don't know what are the things that haven't changed since October 7th.
I think the first thing that has changed is our relationship with another. There were times in the shelter room, so many hours, when you sit next to each other and you look at each other's eyes and you realize you maybe won't make it. So you say goodbyes, and you understand that you will never see your family again, and you will never see your friends again. And you are closing together into your family circle, your new family circle, that is you and your partner and our dog. So this made us be so united and be so strong together, not strong by means of we'll win this, but strong by means of we have each other. And I think this is the biggest change we had, not only, like I said, between us, but also with the community, the togetherness, the feels of the people that are together, and that you don't have anyone else except you, yourself, and the people around you that loves you. And this is a feeling I feel really strong also now in Germany. Although it sounds strange because I'm not in my country, and yet meeting the people here makes me feel at home, makes me feel like I have family that can hug me whenever I need. So the change for me is very, very big. Also, the change happened after this trip, and the change happened after the 7th of October.
I would add one last thing, that I think what changed for me is that I've never felt ever in my life the hatred towards me as a Jewish young man. And it's really it's like I try to be the best person every day for everyone. I try to make the world a better place every day. And then in 1 second, you get this unbelievable amount of hatred towards you, not just from Gaza, but from all around the world. And then I ask myself, what did I do? What can I do different to be better in this world? But then I realize I cannot change my religion, who I was born to be, my Jewishness, and I will not be apologetic about it. I will not deny it because other people hate that part of me. There's nothing I can do to change it. And it's something that struck me so hard, how much people hate me for who I am, a part I never chose. As for right now, I'm proud of that part more than ever.
Is there anything that gives you support and strength these days?
So I think the glimpse of joy we find after the 7th of October these days is the togetherness, is the feeling that we have many people around that hugs us and loves us. Kibbuz Mishmar HaEmek, who is the best kibbutz ever, took us under his wings and let us be whoever we wanted to be, and hosted us and gave us food and shoes and socks and coats. And these are products, but these are also feelings, because we felt hugged. And as the minute you're going through something so dramatic at the 7th of October, and in the morning of the 8th of October, We arrived at Mishmar HaEmek, and all we felt is love, and all we felt is that someone is taking care of us. And this is really, in this horrific reality, the only glimpse of joy, the only glimpse of hope and strength that I can put my hand on.
I think the best emotional support that I feel these days is the unity of not just the Israeli people, the Jewish people, with their partners and with our partners and friends all around the world and in Israel. I think that this feeling of standing with what's right, with the truth, and answering all the hatred around us, with getting more and more united together, I think it's the perfect answer for all this evil around us. Because I think that as we get more and more united, we can handle better and better all the things that are thrown at us from all around the world. And I must say that we feel supported right now as we are here in this wonderful, wonderful community in Düsseldorf. It's so moving that I feel like I am going back home to tell my community of all the good things and all the wonderful people who are here, who are our friends, our partners. And I think there's no greater motivation than what we feel right here with all of you.
What are your hopes for the future?
I have one hope. I have one wish. I don't care about my house. I don't care about my property. I want the hostages to be back to their families. This is my one wish. This is my one hope. I don't care about anything else. The hostages need to come back. Omri and Tzachi are more than 150 days out of their homes, out of their families. They were torn out of their bed, and they should come back home. Our community will never be whole again. Will never be whole again because we lost 15 of our members. But our community will be broken without them, and we cannot let that happen. We need Omri and Tzachi and all of the hostages back to their families as soon as we can. This is my only goal. This is my only wish. This is my only hope.
I agree. And I will add to that I think must come true, so the death of our family members and friends will not be in vain. So it matters, because I think there's no other way of, dealing with it. They must come back. It's a huge part of our process of healing and become whole again. Thank you.
Thank you.